Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video tutorial we are going to be 3D modeling this object. So before we get started, we want to see that it is in millimeters as our units. Our origin is right here in the middle of this. You can kind of see this is a repeated pattern over and over and over. So that kind of tells me that we're going to be using the circular pattern. You can see that it is trimmed inside of here and there's little rectangle pieces. And you see the numbers 2 and 4, meaning those rectangle pieces are even on those circles. As far as the outside goes, if we split this straight across here, this upper part is the exact same thing as this lower part. So that means we could draw 1/2 and mirror it. Now I did notice looking at this picture that up here there is a little dot and down here there isn't. So I don't know why that is, but I do know for a fact that the upper half and the lower half are symmetrical. So I'm telling you, just ignore that little dot. Okay? So I'm going to start out by drawing a construction line across, maybe one straight up, and then I will start to do the outside. I'm going to pull this to my other screen so I can see it. I would advise that you do the same thing. And in SolidWorks, let's make a new part. Set our units to millimeters. And we're going to be sketching on the front plane. So first, I'm going to get my line tool and change this to a construction line. And I click on my origin and I'm going to draw to the left. And I'll hit escape. And I said I was going to draw a vertical one, but I'm guessing you really don't need that. You can if you want to, you really don't need it though. So let's do the outside first. So for the outside one, there is an arc, okay, that starts way over here and kind of curls up and then it curls again. So I'm just going to be using the center point arc, okay, the center point arc, and the center point of this arc is our origin. So just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, this big arc that's right here on the right side, you can see it has a dimension of radius 49, and this line shows it's coming from the origin. So I'm going to start here, kind of arc up just to a random spot, then get another arc, a 3-point arc, just right up to here, and just keep working my way around with a lot of random arcs. And then we'll use the dimension tool to actually fix this. So we have the center point arc, clicking my origin, moving over here, clicking, just kind of moving up here somewhere and stopping. I'll zoom out a little. I'm going to change to the 3-point arc. I'll click on the end, click somewhere up here, and just kind of bend it in. Okay. We have another one, so just move it somewhere around in here. And then we have a center point arc, and if you're following me, I am now on this big one here. It says radius 85, and you can see if you follow that line all the way down here, the center point is straight across from the origin. So that's why I'm picking the center point arc. Okay, I'm going to move my mouse over and click, move all the way up, click onto this, kind of just draw down around. And I'll switch back to that 3-point arc again. Now some of you might be asking, well, why aren't you using the tangent arc? Well, tangent arc only works if you have both sides. So since we don't have another side to click on, we can't do that. So that means we're going to have to go back through and make this tangent the whole way around. So now I'm down to here. We have a straight line after that. Okay, to there. And I'm going to hit escape. And that's where I'm going to stop. You could do this big one down here, but that one's going to be easy to do the tangent arc. So for right now, let's go back and fix a lot of this stuff. This should be tangent. So we'll click one line, hold in shift, click the other, and make that tangent. Do that same thing again up here. So click that arc, hold in shift, click this one, tangent. Click that arc, hold in shift, tangent. And you notice I'm just clicking off to deselect these. Very fast way of doing it. Okay, some other constraints here. Remember we said this one is straight across from our origin. So we're going to click that center point, hold in Shift, click our origin, and we're going to make those horizontal from one another. You can also see in the picture here that this arc up at the top, the center of this big arc is right there, which is straight up and down from our origin. So I'm going to select that one, hold in Shift, click our origin. We're going to make those vertical. So that just shifted it over a little bit. And now we can add some dimensions to this. So I always like to start with the biggest dimension first, and that would be this one. Okay. And the reason why I do that is because everything else is going to scale proportionately. So instead of getting blown up, it's going to shrink down if anything. So this one was 49. And then these next few, if you're looking close at the drawing, you'll notice that they are dimensioned with the diameter symbol. So that means originally when I drew this or somebody else drew this, we did this with a complete circle and then we trimmed it. So that means we're actually going to have to do a little bit of math, or we can let SolidWorks do that math. But we're going to have to divide these by 2. So that would be a common mistake. If you put those in and then tried putting the 63 in, it wouldn't work. It would just give you errors. So this one obviously is 24 divided by 2, so that'll be 12, and 32 divided by 2, which will be 16. So if you couldn't do that in your head, obviously you could just click on this and you could type in 24 divided by 2, so that would be 12. This one is 32 divided by 2, so we have 16. Okay. Then over here, this one is 20. Okay, so you can dimension that one to 20. And then this is still blue because it doesn't know how far up and down it is from the origin. Left and right, you can't go anywhere because we locked it in vertically. So we want to click our origin, click that center point, and we're going to make this 63. And now a lot of this is defined. Okay, so all of this stuff over here is not defined. So if we look back at our picture once again, this straight line right here stops right up above the middle of this circle. And you can see this measurement going straight up is 84. So we can actually set that dot to be 84. Okay, so from here to our origin, straight up and down, make sure you're not on an angle like this. You're going to be straight up and down, is 84. Okay. Now, up and down, it's still blue, and you can see that the curve that would be here has a radius of 22, okay, a radius of 22. So if the center point's here, that means from this to this line is going to be 22. Now, everything should be fully defined, okay, other than this blue dot. So if we hit escape off our dimension tool or the green check, let's just make sure that we have this set. So some of your computers will automatically lock in to be horizontal, others won't. So if yours does not, make sure you select that blue dot, hold in Shift and your origin, and make that horizontal. Okay, now the outside is fully defined. So let's go up to Mirror Entities. Entities to mirror is going to be this entire thing, so you have to kind of work your way around, select each one of these lines. Your mirror about line is obviously this construction line, green check. And you have all of that, so now you can use your tangent arc. Put that in, and you shouldn't have to dimension that at all. Okay, so if you make it tangent on both sides, should be good. Turn off my sketch shading contours. So this is fully defined. So I would save it here just to make sure your computer doesn't crash. But now we can put in these little circles and then we can try to do that crazy pattern. So use your circle tool, right here your center points. And that is the nice thing about doing the outside first because you have all those center points to put right in there. And all three of these circles are the same size. So I'm going to select all 3 of them by holding in Shift, set them to equal, and then I'll dimension one of them, and that is 14. So it'll readjust them all. Okay. Now if we zoom in to this middle, this is where it kind of gets weird. So first off, we want to make a circle off of our origin. Okay. Then we're going to make another circle off that origin, just a little bit bigger. And this one we want to set to a construction circle. So check that box over here on the left. And that construction circle is actually what's going to go right through the middle of all of these patterns. So you can kind of see that there. Okay. So straight up and down from our origin and on that construction circle, you'll see there's a little yellow dot. We're going to put one right there. Okay. And then I will use my line tool, just draw a straight line down. You can hit escape, get the line tool again. Straight line down, hit escape. Now let's do some dimensioning. So this inside circle here has a radius of 27. So that means we need 27 times 2. Okay. The outside one has a diameter of 68. So that would be the construction circle, diameter of 68. I know the picture is rather hard to see. Then these little circles have a radius of 4, so that would mean it has a diameter of 8. The rectangles here, so from one rectangle to the other, it says is 4. And then from one rectangle to the middle, which in this case could be that dot or the origin, but I'll just use that dot, that's going to be half of 4, so obviously 2. All right, so now we're nicely centered up. So here I'm going to use my Trim Entities tool. Make sure you're set to trim to closest. We're going to trim this inside, okay, so that it is one solid shape. Clean check. And then let's hit the drop down here for circular sketch pattern. And for this, it wants to know what you're actually rotating around. So if you just select this circle, saying that you're going to rotate around that, and it automatically finds the middle. We want to set our parameters here to however many we have, and if you count that, I believe we have 12. I'll double check. But we do indeed have 12, so make sure that you set this to 12. Okay. And entities to pattern, we want to actually not have that arc, so just hit delete. I'm going to select this curve, select these two rectangular pieces or the two straight lines, and hit the green check. Okay, now they are all blue, so you got to figure out why that is, and normally the reason is because it does not lock in some of these. So you see, you can actually move them out. So if you just click and hold on this one that I am, right in the center point, drag it back to that yellow dot, it'll now lock in. Don't ask me why SolidWorks does that, but there's probably an answer out there. So you notice that this is trimmed, these are not. So let's go back in and trim all of this. Work your way right around. Don't forget you're going to have a second one here where that construction line goes through. Okay, now that you have that, you should be good to extrude. So if we go to Features tab, Extrude, it says it has material thickness of 7, and the Z is positive, so coming forward is fine. Green check. Let's change our material here to AISI 1020. So right click and hit Edit, and that's going to be in the steel folder. Apply and close, evaluate, and you should get 544.51 grams. If you got that, you are correct. If you did not get that, then go back in, see what you did wrong, continue editing until you are finished. But don't forget to save this and move on to the next one.